Hi, I'm Bybreen and welcome back to another episode of Soul Stirring Astrology. Well, this week the major aspect that's taking place is this new moon that's in Scorpio that takes place on November the 11th. And it's a really powerful new moon because a new moon is created when we have the sun and the moon conjuncting each other, but it's also supported by the sun and Mercury conjuncting each other, all taking place in Scorpio. Now, where we have this alignment, what it suggests is that there's a very clear path, it's a new beginning, new direction, and you've got clarity over what that path is and what that beginning is. Also, the sun is about clarity over your core identity, and then the ability to communicate this because we've got Mercury here as well. So it's really the beginning of a very solid platform. It then becomes solidified because all of this is taking place in Scorpio, and Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. And so what's happening here, we've got Scorpio and Pluto, which is currently in Capricorn, and so therefore these aspects are sextiling each other. So it's a really harmonious energy that's taking place through this sense of power, using your power in a really useful way that grounds you but also gives you depth. So that's the platform which it's been lined up on. It's also supported by the new moon making a sextile again, but this time to Jupiter. So Jupiter is in Virgo and it's sextiling this new moon, and then we've got the Sun and Mercury conjunction. So whatever the Jupiter touches, it's about expanding on what is already there. So it's a really fruitful time for risk-taking, going after your dreams and your goals. There's emotional expansiveness as well as expression. So this is great. It's about supporting this core identity, the new way forward. And also we've got Jupiter, which is forming a trine to Pluto. So we've got these two earth energies because Pluto, as I said, here is in Capricorn. So it's a wonderfully supportive time for you to be stepping up into the public realm and showcasing who you are. However, having said all of that fantastic setup for you, everything's aligned. However, there's a challenge that comes to this new platform, and the challenge is coming from Uranus. So we have Uranus here, and Uranus is in Aries, and it's a cardinal sign. And Uranus forms an aspect which is called several things. One of them is a quincunx. So that's Quincunx, or it's known as a yod, Y-O-D, or the finger of fate. Finger of fate. So what this actually means is that Uranus here is forming an inconjunct aspect to both Jupiter as well as this moon and the sun and Mercury. Now, there's a sextile that's going on between these aspects, and so that means there's a 30-degree separation. So it's a positive aspect that's going on between these two. But here, there's 150 degrees that separates these planets. And so what Uranus does here, it acts as a mediator and an anchor for these two planets. Now, where you have the quincunx, or the finger of fate, what it's suggesting is that there's a subtle and minor irritation that's taking place underneath this wonderful platform, underneath this surface of confidence and power and assertion. And so we're dealing here with Uranus, which is about change and innovation. It's also about the principle and the value of freedom. We're dealing with Uranus in conjunct the moon, this new moon. So we're dealing with the moon, that's about emotions, that's about nurturing, and that's about caring. But it's about your own personal emotions, and it's in Scorpio, so there could be deep feelings that are being challenged and unearthed and could happen in quite a sudden way because we've got Uranus here, and Uranus acts as the mediator between these two. So you're going to feel provoked in somewhere. There's going to be some type of event that's going to happen that will stir all of what's happening under the surface, because Scorpio is about water. And it's about bringing those feelings of pain or hurt or anxiety or jealousy or revenge or all the negative type of feelings, bringing them to the surface. But because we've got Uranus here, there's no way that you can pretend it doesn't exist. So we've got this wonderful platform of a new way forward, and so there might be, your heart might be really wanting to go for it, but there's something in your mind that is holding you back. You're not quite sure. This aspect is really going to bring it to the surface. So it's a very powerful time, and what you might find as a result of this is that there's a restlessness and there's a desire for freedom and breaking free from the past. Because we're now on this new trajectory, if you're still holding on to remnants of the past, it's going to get in your own way. And the challenge coming from Uranus is about how do you begin to get out of your own way. So it's a wonderful, wonderful aspect, but you're going to feel tension, and you may experience it as an epiphany. Something's going to happen that's going to move you to newer ways of being and understanding and thinking and feeling, that once you engage with this, you no longer can go back to that fearful, reticent self. So if you're able to mediate this wonderful energy, so we've got Jupiter touching all of this, so this is about an expansion of emotions and feelings and money and resources that you might use in your world. It could be in your home, because we're dealing with the moon, but whatever it is that shows up, that shows abundance, that's going to be challenged if you are inauthentic. Yes, because Uranus here is about originality. It's a cardinal sign, it's in Aries, so it wants you to step up and go forward. So there's this tension that's going on. So that gives you a sense of what this new moon can signify and how you can step into it. But also this aspect is equally positive, because it will bring you to a place whereby you're able, maybe for the first time in years or ever, to be truly honest with people around you about what you are feeling. It might be a time that you leave the family home, you end a relationship, or you move in some way, but you can no longer pretend the feeling doesn't exist. Another positive attribute is that with the moon and Uranus here, it could lead you towards feeling far more compassion for other people. So you might be drawn to humanitarian causes that you want to fight as a matter of principle on behalf of other people. So an example of this that's taken place in the UK, it's in the public realm, is that there are three sets of families, three parents and children. And the parents are mounting a High Court challenge to the UK government, and they're seeking a judicial review of a decision that the government has taken regarding education. And so there's a change in terms of the religious studies education, and as of September 2016, students now can only study 2 religions, but they can't study humanism. And so the parents are asserting that there's a lack of parity between religions and non-religious worldviews. And actually, if this decision is to hold, it will give young people the impression that religion has the monopoly on truth and morality, and we know that's not the case. And so what they're asserting, this could actually be a bad precedent. So the decision that the parents are taking is also supported by 28 religious leaders, as well as the British Humanist Association. And what this aspect leads on to is Saturn here, and it's in Sagittarius, and it's going to be in Sagittarius for at least the next 2.5 years. And Saturn is squaring Neptune, and Neptune is in Pisces. And so I want you to think about the example of the parents and taking the government to court. The government is represented by Saturn. It's about the old guard, convention and structure, and being very constricted. The actions of the parents are rising out from the collective, which is a reflection of Neptune, and they are directly challenging, because it's a square that's taking place here, so they're challenging the decision taken by the government. So it's a sense of individual as well as collective revolution, and that's the theme that's running through this this new moon, it's about, you know, how can you revive or regenerate or change or challenge a situation to bring about good for yourself and others. So this is a wonderful aspect. Also, over the last 2.5 years, we've had Saturn in Scorpio, so it would have felt very restrained and constricted, and there may have been power struggles that you have experienced. I certainly experienced them over this last 2.5 years, and so what we may have experienced then is that we've been controlled or constrained in terms of other people's views or perspectives, or being forced to maintain the status quo. And then, you know, the rebellious spirits like myself and millions of you out there who've really challenged that. And so what we've been seeking to do is continue our path of self-mastery, and that has felt at times very challenging, but we recognise that as a result of wanting to have this greater sense of self-mastery, we've come up against constant crisis. And because we've gone through the eye of the needle, because we've had the dark night of the soul, now that Saturn has moved into Sagittarius, which is about personal philosophy, finding our own meaning and path and understanding of life, we're now honouring what that actually means on an individual, and we're going to see, no doubt, over the next 2.5 to 3 years, a rise in people standing authentically for what it is that they truly believe in. So, real revolutionary times. It's fantastic. What else is going on? We have another aspect, and this one is about the North Node. And the North Node has now just gone retrograde back into Virgo. And it will be there up until 18 months, I think it is. For the next 6 months, up until May. So we've got this North Node, which has gone into Virgo, and obviously its opposite is the South Node. And the South Node is in Pisces. Now, here we've got the North Node, another indication about stepping into the future. It's with Virgo, so it's about purification, stepping forward in a really authentic way. Let go of the past, and the past here, represented by the South Node, is where you may feel pain or hurt or victimised. You may still be carrying a sense of the victimisation gene on some level. And this North Node is saying, that doesn't match up with the everyday, tangible realities of what Virgo is calling you to do. It's calling you to purify yourself so that you're able to comfortably step forward. And instead of thinking of yourself as a victim, it's now time for you to think of yourself as the victor, the hero and the heroine in your life. So it's a wonderful time if you're able to knit together what's going on under this new moon. And you know, we've got the full moon happening in 2 weeks' time, but we'll feel this energy for the next few weeks. If you're able to grasp it, you put yourself in a fantastic position where you can take advantage of this power platform that is solid and it's waiting for you to step forward. So the quote I have for you this week is from Fidel Castro, and he said, "Revolutions are not a bed of roses. Revolutions are based on a tension between the past and the future." And so what's going on in the skies, what's going on between all of these elements is about, are you truly on your path now to shaking off completely that victimhood, the pain of yesteryear, to embrace your power, to embrace this new direction. And I hope your revolution and your revelations don't shock too many people, because we've got this Uranus, which is in Aries, as I said, so it's desperate to move forward in a really confident, powerful way. So that's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to share it with your network. If you liked it, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you've got any comments, would love to talk with you, put them in the comment box below. And I will see you again, and have a powerful time revolutionising yourself and your life. Bye.